Hello, hello, and welcome to the podcast. I've got a man with me today who needs no introduction in any way, shape, or form because he's probably one of the most connected people in the estate agency world. And I'm sure that's not from luck, which we'll find out very shortly. Josh Rayner, thank you so much for coming on today.
Chris, thank you for having me. Thank you very much for the kind words.
So let's start with those connections, shall we? Because it seems to me that you know everybody in the estate agency world. Any event I've ever been to, there's always the big dogs and are always chatting to Josh at the bar sort of thing. Not always the bar, I should point out. And you seem to know everybody under the sun in the estate agency world. Is that something you've proactively gone out to do? Is it like a strategy you've implemented, or is it just sort of all part of the job that you do?
Yeah, so definitely most of it bar, Chris, first of all. But no, in all seriousness, I've just basically had more conversations with more people over the years. So 20 years in estate agency recruitment. I know lots and lots of people, but that is generally me wanting to help people. I think it comes down to kind of my personal why as a business, which is I just want to help people, whether that's someone looking for a job or somebody looking to recruit talent. So yes, I'm at different industry events but also just speaking to people on a daily basis. I think I must have about 100 conversations every single day with our industry, and I think that's really helped me kind of get our brand on the right people.
And when you first launched Rayner Personnel, was it a case that you sort of targeted yourself to have a certain amount of connections or conversations every day, or is it just saying that organically, where you want to help people, you just automatically reach out to people and say, "How can I help you grow your business?"
I think it's a bit of both, to be fair, Chris. So, of course, you wanted to connect with as many people as you can. So, when I first started, it was 100 connections every single week or month, or whatever the allowance was on LinkedIn. But just generally having more conversation as a headhunting company, always trying to find the best talent, map out where they are. So that all starts with building relationships and having connections. So I think a little bit by luck, but also a lot of it was targeted to speak to as many good people on a regular basis as possible.
So, where are we up to today? So, you celebrated a milestone with Rayner Personnel the other day. What's the milestone you got to?
Chris, I'm getting old and I'm fatter by the day. So 12 years old this August, Rayner Personnel. So that was our recent milestone. Really excited about the future as well. And hopefully we're still around the next 12 years.
Ah, fantastic. So you're just going on to secondary school. Is that what 12-year-olds do these days? Um,
That is indeed, yeah.
just about to go to proper school. So lead us through the journey about you starting Rayner Personnel. Because obviously starting your own business is a big deal, whether it's a state agency, whether it's recruitment. Had you been in recruitment before in the estate agency world and then you thought, actually, I want to do this myself? Or what kind of led you to sort of launching your own business?
Yeah, cool. So Rayner Personnel is my third recruitment business. I sold two successfully prior. So um, I, I'm a bit unemployable and I'm an entrepreneur. I want to run my own business and run my own boat. And Rayner Personnel was set up to be slightly different. I've had a traditional recruitment business before where everyone was in an office, they were all employed, had a basic salary and a set commission structure. But this time we had something different. And obviously since COVID, I think that's accelerated our growth massively because of our model, which is when you have an office, your talent bank is limited to getting to that office. If you're in a big major city like London, Birmingham, Manchester, for example, which is very expensive to have an office, you're quite limited attracting people. And Radio Personnel was a business that is self-employed. So all of our associates we call them, in the field work from home remotely, and they actually are a business partner. They own their own business. They work for themselves with our assistance, training, mentorship, and brand. And I think that's what's different about Radio Personnel compared to two previous companies I had.
So I saw a post today about Adam Day saying that he is unemployable. Do you think that generally the best business owners in the UK are unemployable because they just want to do their own things? Therefore, you can't almost cage that person. Do you think that's sort of a mindset that goes quite well with having your own business?
Probably, and we probably can't get a job anywhere else, so that's why we have to set up a business. I do think if you're unemployable and you've got your back against the wall and you want to change your status quo, you don't fit, you haven't got a corporate jacket to wear, you have to go out and create that opportunity for yourself. So I think that's what a lot of people entrepreneurs do. They find a problem, they know what the solution is, and they go out and they go.
Cool. So you mentioned the self-employed side of things, which obviously is coming a bigger and bigger deal in the estate agency world with brokerage, and that part of the market is growing quite quickly. Did you always set around to have a self-employed model? Was that always the plan from day one of Rayner Personnel, or did you kind of evolve that over time? What was the mindset there?
Great question, and definitely didn't plan it. I placed a candidate actually in a particular job with a big independent, and he turned around to me and said, "Josh, this is a great opportunity. It's a great offer on the table, but we get on so well that I'd kind of like to work with you." I said, "Well, I'm in Hertfordshire and you're in Gloucestershire. How are we going to make that one work?" And then sat down and we created a license effectively of the brand. We built systems, processes, and a foundation for that individual to be really successful. And we wanted to do it for 12 months, and he absolutely flew. So it was probably more luck than judgment. But after he was successful, we built that out to I suppose it's a franchise business today, and we haven't looked back since doing it.
And there's lots of overlaps with regard to recruitment and estate agency. Lots of people in recruitment go into the estate agency world, and lots of people in the estate agency world sometimes go back into recruitment and then come back again and zigzag sort of on that side of things. So, what are some of the key things that you've put in place that you think have allowed you to grow to the size you've got to today with the number of self-employed people? So, what's the key to finding the right people to start off with and then keeping them as well?
Fine. So two questions in one. Thanks, Chris, to make my life a little bit difficult. So for me, we hire attitude, and we want people that really build meaningful relationships. So we have three core R's in our business, values wise, which are relationships, reputation, and recommendation. And for me, it's somebody who's a really good relationship builder. That has to be first and the most important thing that a recruiter has to have. You're absolutely right. Everybody in Rayner personnel is an ex-professional. We think it's really good that they're very hyper local and they understand. They've been the other side of the desk, what the industry is all about, what the challenges are, what buzzwords are, to then go out and find somebody really good. So we typically go after people that have been in the sector before. And how do we keep people? We build a culture, I suppose, in our business, which gives people the freedom to run their own business, support, mentorship, being very similar to background to what you've been doing before, the support, mentoring, training to make sure that they're successful. But it's a two-way street. You're only successful, the associate successful. That partnership really works where you're sort of 50-50 in this business together, and we've got as much to benefit, as much to lose if we get that wrong. And going down that journey with somebody, I think is kind of fair when it's the whole kind of boss cracking whip. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't work. It's if you're in that same kind of mindset, doing something together, I think you can be there.
So I'm very aware there's a weighting to the question I'm about to ask you here because you run a recruitment company, obviously. But how important is it getting the right person to start off with? Because I don't want to use this expression, but can you teach an old dog new tricks? If you get someone who is all right to join the business, do you find that it's easy-ish to kind of mold them into sort of the person you want them to be? Or is it crucial to get the right person from day one who you think actually you're a bang on fit and you're absolutely perfect for my organization?
Always like to get it right first time, including me. But I get it wrong as well when I'm in recruitment. So I always hire attitude and teach skill. I think we can teach most people the skill of being an estate agent, being a recruiter, or any other particular skill sets. But it does come about finding that right attitude, and you've got joined up relationships, right values that you believe in your business. Then, what attributes should I say, you can then add value to the business.
So
So yeah, I think you can teach an old dog new tricks, but they have to have the right attitude and willing to reset, reskill to go forward in their career.
And so you spoke about culture there. So you spoke about people staying with you and wanting to work with you because of the culture of the business in general. How do you build a culture? I really appreciate that's a very big question. I had this conversation with Joe Bourne a little while ago about this. How do you build a culture in a business where everyone's pulling in the same direction and everyone sort of wants the best for everyone else and it isn't sort of, knives out in your back every 2 seconds? How do you build that culture in an organization?
Really hard question to answer in 2 seconds. But a mixture of things is probably the answer. So again, it's finding the right people that have got the right values and believe in the entrepreneur's journey where they're going. But it's setting up core sort of metrics around that individual and around the business. So whether that's saying what you're going to do, is actually not just saying it, you're actually going to deliver on what you're going to do. I think that's training and mentor people and keep bringing them out of the business and working with that individual to make them even better, to make sure that they're on course, giving the customer service they need to. I think it's getting together. We live in a very remote world now, and our business obviously is completely remote. We think it's very important to have that face-to-face time still, whether that's drink at a bar, Chris, and whether that's meet up in a round table with a special guest or meet the client event. We do think that face-to-face interaction is very, very important. And culturally, I think you can do that remotely, but it's a lot easier when you're in person as well. But again, we live in a world where people want to be able to pick up the kids from school. They want other things in their life that are very important. They're big rocks they want to put into their normal week, and we have to understand that we jiggle around that. And I think the culture is about coming together for that common goal, and the values you set in your business, your system, foundation, your program, your can deliver that consistently all the time. I think that also helps build that winning culture to everyone.
So you spoke about sort of the jobs market changing with regard to kind of what people want. You mentioned sort of people dropping their kids off at school and picking them up from school, etc. How how do you see that landscape changing? Because I appreciate COVID has sort of supercharged that very quickly, because obviously the working from home thing was very compulsory very quickly, sort of thing. So how do you see that developing over time? There's lots of companies out there now that are doing, Adam Day again mentioned it a while ago, they're doing sort of limitless holiday at their head office and all this sort of stuff. How do you see that developing over time? Is it more of a case that people want more of a work-life balance these days, or what's the sort of trend you're seeing emerging?
There's an interesting report that came out of America last month that actually said that if you were paid 30% more at a worse culture, do you join that company for 30% more money, or would you join a company with better culture and less money? And actually, they said no culture over money. And I think that just says it all, really. So I think the market will need to change to get good talent. We've lost quite a lot of people during the 07, 08 financial crisis, and lots of people during COVID decided actually, well, I want to be an estate agent. And I think we need to look at the industry as a whole. It needs to be regulated at some point. Ways banged about, I know Joe Bourne's a big believer in that as well. But until that happens, I think we need to make it a lot more appealing to people. And I do think the Monday to Friday, 8 till 8, and every Saturday and every Sunday, a day off and Luke doesn't really give, especially a younger person, a work-life balance, and to see friends and family and everything else. I think that's a toxic environment they then bring into work, and it affects their customer service. So I think lots of companies are now looking at what does a typical day look like? Do they need to be in the office every Saturday? Do they need to be working until 8 o'clock in the evening? And I think that's just working out what works for different businesses. I totally believe that actually there is an opportunity for someone to be employed in the office Monday to Friday, every weekend. There is a market. There also is a market for someone to be self-employed and do their own thing. But I don't think there's anything like work-life balance, because you need to work hard to get the balance and the freedom.
And one of the things that hasn't really improved or progressed over the years from what I can see, and I know Christopher Watkins did a post a little while ago about this, is sort of the pay and the basic salaries with regard to the estate agency world. So, if you look at sort of negotiator salaries and branch manager salaries and list of salaries from 10, 15, 20 years ago, sort of thing, they haven't really kept up with inflation in any way, shape, or form. So why do you think they're sort of really stagnating, haven't really progressed as much as maybe other places have?
One word for you, which is fees. Agents actually over the last 10, 15 years reduced their fees rather than increase them. Naturally, if costs are going up, whether that be right move, marketing, etc., premises, and your fees are going down, they're not going to be able to pay the people they deserve. So until we have that issue around fee resolved, I never see agents paying more to somebody if they're employed, because they just have revenue to pay to people. And Ian Preston, a good friend of mine, is looking at technology, actually better technology, better systems, less people in that heavy lifting. He's looking at that, how we can put more tech into businesses, have less people, and build business. So robots come along, people want to transact with a person rather than an AI product.
Is it a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy at the moment then? So, but until the robots take over and we're all made redundant and everyone stays at home, isn't it a case that the fees in the industry are going down because there isn't the talent in the industry, and the pays aren't going up because the fees aren't in the industry, therefore the talent is going down? It's kind of like a cycle to death, Phil, because not the talent you want to get the fees up isn't coming in because the money isn't there to start off with.
There's lots of people that are changing that. So there's lots of people that are charging 2%, 2.5%, and they get 2.5% because guess what? They're worth it. They're putting the added value in to secure that fee. I think there's got to be lots of people that look at that and go, actually, if I want to have the best people, I've got to offer the best service. I've got to have the best brand, and therefore I attract the best people. If you're a race to the bottom budget market, and there is a market for that as well, clearly you're going to be very price sensitive. But aren't going to really attract the best people because they want to earn a lot more than you can really pay them. So there's that kind of divide, I think. And you can see lots of good, strong independents in particular charging 2.5%, and like you say.
Yeah, I think I've got that. I'm trying as much as I possibly can do to keep that same mentality in my own business. My goal in my business is to be the stupidest, dumbest, slowest, the unsharpest tool in the business by recruiting people around me who actually make me look bad, which is for my ego terrible, but actually for the business very, very good.
So look, I think it's always about taking better people on and covering your weaknesses, really slick systems, processes, that give you that consistency that you need.
So if we were in an estate agency business today and we were looking to recruit our first member of staff, fifth member of staff, whatever it may be, what sort of perks, salary brackets, whatever it may be, should we have in place to make sure we attract the right people? Is it a case that the money doesn't carry as much weight as it used to, but actually having limitless holiday is the best thing in the world sort of thing? What sort of balance between money and sort of benefits that we should be looking for?
Yeah, we do a salary survey every single year, and one thing that's come up over the last months of us doing that is that money was always at the top, and say because people go to work to earn money, but over the last 24 months that's changed and been knocked see, and that's been changed for working-life balance. So allowing people to have a Monday to Friday working pattern rather than a Monday to Saturday with day off in lieu. That's reducing the 8 till 8. So it might be start at 8:30, we finish at 6:30. Might be the actually a company car to an individual is really important. And actually, they can't get finance on a car, so quite often a car or a company car that would be a benefit, and therefore they take reduce salary. So I think it's about having an open mind when it comes to packages. Yes, money is a massive driver and will always be a massive driver. And it's the company culture, it's the other perks around that that people can learn from. So, like I said, a better working pattern, weekly pattern. A car, is it an electric car? Do you offer a to work scheme, whatever it may be? People want to know what the culture's like, and we mentioned that before, and that all comes from if you're on Facebook, digitally. People can understand what you do, because they're not on your nights out with you. So you have to give them an idea about what that culture looks like.
And so if you were sat here today thinking to yourself, okay, I'm a one person band and I launched my estate agency business a year ago, whatever it may be, and think to yourself, I want to bring on my first member of staff. What sort of financial preparation should you have for bringing on your first member of staff? I mean, with regard to having a certain amount sort of sandbagged in your bank account to sort of spend on a member of staff, should you have 3 months salary, 6 months salary, a year's salary? What sort of numbers should you have in place to make sure you give that person the best possible chance of succeeding?
First of all, you've got to find the right person. Yeah. So you pay someone 3 months, 6 months, a year. You need to make sure you know who you're going after the target. For me, it'd be a theatre. So I'd be looking at market intelligence and data, really drilling down in LinkedIn and team pages to find out who the right individual is. But I'd have to look in that whites that person's eyes and make sure that I could cover their salary for at least, I would say, 12 months. But if they're really good and they're generally generating revenue, you know that actually you might not get away with actually paying them 3 months before they then start paying themselves. I always say you need to look at some lines, and if you can get to somebody, you've got to at least have 12 months of a salary in the bank for them, with the view that in 3 to 6 months' time, they're then paying for themselves and you can take them the next higher. So,
Yeah, I guess you don't want to be looking at your watch after 3 months thinking, when's that money going to start coming in? Because it's getting a bit tight on the financial end side of things.
which
So,
doesn't help you, does it? The market when you're churning staff because you can't afford to pay them, it's not really a great
no,
accolade to your business.
no, not we're talking about growing culture and you're kicking staff out for not having the money. That's never a good place to be. So if you were a person listening to this who thinks to himself, I'm a negotiator at the moment, I'm a lister at the moment, I'm a branch manager at the moment, and I'm looking for that sort of next step up the ladder, that next promotion, that next stage, what are all the things that people can do to kind of put themselves in the best possible position to get that, either that promotion or headhunted or a DM from yourself or whatever it may be? What are the things they can do in real terms that they can do today to make themselves more employable, more promotionable, whatever the phrase is?
I think it's being more noticeable. I think it's going outside of your comfort zone and beyond LinkedIn, and, talk about the customer service you've delivered to a particular individual. It might be supporting a fellow colleague through whatever it may be they're going hardship they might be going through, whether that be work or personal. But I think it's showcasing to the wider world, whether that's your boss, whether that's LinkedIn, to be headhunted, whatever it may be. Actually, you can step out your comfort zone, you can go the extra mile, and this is why you're particularly good. Now, some people are afraid to do that, and that's absolutely fine as well. But there's ways that you don't have to bore yourself out all over LinkedIn with how good you are, because some people don't like to do that. There is ways where you can actually do subtle changes, really help people to stand out. And people go, do you know what? Sarah done an amazing job there. She's hit some brilliant numbers, or she's done this particular project really well. We want to be part of that. So I think it's working out your environment and who you want to impress, and getting the strategy together to make sure you impress that.
Because I suppose the first issue you've got that if you're looking to get promoted or headhunted or work for another company, wherever it may be, your first problem is actually, do they even know who you are in the first place? Because you might be the absolutely perfect fit for their company, but they've got no idea you exist in any way, shape, or form. Then what chance have you got, basically?
Absolutely. So that's where LinkedIn obviously comes into play quite well for this individual.
And so I mean, I appreciate this is a big leap for a lot of people, but do you think that having a personal brand connected with yourself, I'm not a huge fan of the expression personal brand, but hey ho, having some sort of personal brand connected to yourself, whether that's on the internet or locally or whatever it may be, do you think that's a real sort of thing that employers look for these days? Because if you've got a personal brand already and they employ you, they kind of employ your personal brand as well.
Always talk about personal brand, and I think it's really important. So um, you just got to be careful, because personal brand, you can either be there's no vanilla really in personal brand, isn't it? It's you, authentic. So know that you're going to be like Marmite. You're going to attract a particular individual or a particular brand, and you're probably going to turn off another one. So um, I would say be authentic for yourself, but will naturally people go to people that they like, and that particular personal brand. If they don't like the personal brand, it's probably not going to get hired. So it comes with its risks. But I totally believe that if you're out there and you've got a personal brand, people notice you more. They decide they like it or they don't like it. It's down to them.
Sure. And just to kind of wrap things up, probably it's probably for my benefit than anything else, is that obviously do not have my finger on the pulse on the jobs market in any way, shape, or form, because obviously being self-employed, I can't really sack myself too quickly. So what is the jobs market like in the estate agency world at the moment? Is there more jobs coming out? Is the pay going up? Is it kind of on the way up? Is it on the way down? What's the sort of general vibe out there at the moment?
The vibe is very busy. We had a record break in August, which was very nice. I think this year in particular, I think lots of people had some more money, so they've been on longer vacations. You included and me included on that. I would have thought that actually the decision makers were away, and therefore they can't make decisions. But I think we live in a world now where actually decisions can be made on a beach in Dubai or on the golf course. So I think actually there's no such thing as I'm going to turn off for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it may be. We're always naturally working. So August was really, really good. And I think we've got a really positive end to 2024. We've got a mini budget halfway through that. But I think it's a positive outlook for the second half of 2024. And CEOs and MDs of big companies I've been speaking to in exactly the same way. In regards to salaries, they've stayed very, very similar. We've always got probably more candidates than jobs. It's always a candidate-driven market, I suppose. And there seems to be lots of movement. So people aren't getting the work-life balance, or they're not getting their overseeing the promotion, wherever it may be. So therefore, it's quite a busy job market, and lots of people hiring, people need to move. So this is our perfect storm.
And is there a seasonality with people finding jobs? I know lots of people, you get the old classic, first week of January, everyone's like, I've got a new job at so-and-so kind of thing on LinkedIn. Is there a seasonality with regard to people finding jobs and changing jobs? Is it still like a Christmas thing, New Year, new me, or is it kind of like an all year
Yep.
thing these days?
So that's just a myth and absolute bollocks, excuse my French. So you're absolutely right. There used to be a kind of a right between June and September. Everyone goes on holiday and no one really moves. Like I said, we've done probably more. It was in August than we did in January. So I think it's just a myth, and that's happened over the last few years. So I can say doesn't tend to be that issue. The only thing you do have is that people have a bonus that's normally paid at the end of March. So lots of people hold on to that date. And that used to be in December, and obviously big companies change that because they come in after Christmas and many staff left. So it's normally financially sort of led by that sort of thing. But it's always moving. So I can tell you January will be better than December, or January will be better than August. Just generally, yeah.
Excellent. Josh, thank you for making time in what I know is your very busy diary. So thank you so much for coming on today, mate. It's been very much appreciated. Thanks for coming on.
Chris, thank you so much for having me. Take care.
Thank you, buddy.